a center of excellence, a nurturing space for innovation, creativity, and academic freedom. This is the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. As a constituent university of the University of the Philippines system, UPLB is a leading national higher education and research institution in various niche areas. Grounding itself on the needs of national development, UPLB cultivates well-rounded and critical leaders who are ready to lead breakthroughs and innovations. Through its industrial and academic partnerships, UPLB propagates its gains to advance inclusive development in various sectors. An educational institution that upholds honor, excellence, and public service.
A center of knowledge, innovation, history, culture, and biodiversity. This is the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. UPLB found its home at the foot of the legendary Mount Makiling in Los Baños, Laguna, a short distance from Laguna de Bay, the country's largest lake. It has its beginnings in 1909 as the UP College of Agriculture, a tent school for a handful of students. A year after, the Forest School, or what was to become the College of Forestry, also set up its home in Los Baños. In 1972, the UP College of Agriculture and the College of Forestry, that had by then become renowned institutions, were granted full autonomy as the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Instruction, research, and extension in agriculture and forestry in the country took root and flourished in UPLB. Through its strength in these two fields, UPLB established niches in various areas: biotechnology, engineering, veterinary medicine, natural resources conservation, environmental science and management, human ecology, food science, economics and management, public affairs, and development communication. It drew its strength in the arts and other fields of science, from harnessing its expertise and human resource in the biological, physical, and social sciences. Today, UPLB degree programs continue to dominate over its counterparts. Over the years, UPLB has developed graduate programs that continue to attract students far and wide, including collaborative programs with international universities in food security, biodiversity conservation, and development. To make graduate programs more accessible to professionals, UPLB offers them off-campus. Recently, UPLB established the UP Professional School for Agriculture and the Environment in Mindanao, the country's food basket, in order to help build the knowledge capital that the country needs to attain food security. Instruction in UPLB is enhanced by a strong and vigorous engagement in research and public service that enables it to produce knowledge and generate technologies and innovations that promote sustainable living, making it a strong force in the war against hunger and poverty in the country. Extension and public service are the mechanisms by which UPLB brings this knowledge and technologies to the people, as well as for it to know what they need and to help shape policies in the country. UPLB's reputation as a graduate and research university was formed through the continuous aspiration for excellence and the mutual reinforcement between instruction, research, and public service and extension. It brings in partnerships with local and international universities and provides mobility to faculty members, researchers and scientists, and students, and enhances their competitiveness. Instruction, research, and extension and public service in UPLB reflect the dynamism, honor, and excellence that its forebears set as a standard for its leaders to aspire for. This and an enabling environment for creativity and innovation among its people make UPLB a globally competitive research and graduate university that contributes to national development.
The world is in a constant state of change now more than ever. It's a world that requires resilience, flexibility, and innovation to overcome challenges and to pursue growth. That is why the University of the Philippines Los Baños is pursuing future-proofing initiatives to provide agile leadership and develop local and global communities amidst shocks and disruptions in an ever-changing world. Guided by compassion, an openness to working together, and the daring to seek out breakthroughs, UPLB constantly pushes for academic excellence, produces relevant research, establishes academic and industry partnerships, and cultivates creativity, critical thinking, and innovation. To keep up with the fast-changing world and to strive for inclusivity in development, UPLB seeks to level the playing field and expand avenues for acquiring new knowledge. It is reshaping the learning experience, enabling students and educators to continue with the learning process in vastly different learning conditions. It is expanding its academic programs and supporting initiatives to create a conducive learning environment. To address the growing complexities of modern problems, UPLB continues to break barriers across disciplines to produce cutting-edge innovations and solutions that serve the needs of various communities. It is taking on challenges in food security and sustainability and coordinating research efforts to direct the university's resources toward critical research areas, making sure that the university-generated knowledge can reach its intended stakeholders and be applied to real-life contexts. UPLB is dedicated to its commitment to contribute to public good and social welfare as it continues to work with the local government and the community to address their most pressing needs. Amidst its engagements, UPLB remains as one of the top regional and global universities and continues to be recognized in the country and across the world. As the national university, UPLB aims to be a steadfast partner in development, as a producer of new approaches that minimize the cost and impacts of future shocks, and by honing leaders committed to knowledge creation, innovation and cutting-edge research, and public service. This is UPLB's roadmap to be an impactful institution in a constantly changing landscape. Responsive, innovative, future-proof.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. Tama po ba?
Magandang umaga po.
Good morning po, isang mapagpalang araw sa ating lahat. It's 8:59. Antayin lang po natin yung iba nating mga kasama from other sections, but we would like to recognize, Sir Mark, ang ating pong speaker for today, si Ma'am Daphne, ang ating pong mga kasamahang guro sa SDS 172, si Doc Millie, si Doc Yuyen, Sir Mark, of course, sino pa po ba? Sina Sir Ron Dangkalan, definitely. Sina Ma'am Ann, andito na po ba sila? Sina Sir, ah, hanapin natin ang kanilang mga pangalan. Ayan, mukhang nandito na naman, sir, ang ating pong mga lecturers. So basically, ngayong semester po ay meron tayong 4 na lecture sections under ni Doc V, kay Sir Mark, sa akin po, at saka yung kay Doc Yuyen. So ibig sabihin po yung 4 na lecture sections ay meron tayong 8 laboratory sections. Opo. 9 o'clock na. I think we can start. Tama po ba? Naka-record naman po ang ating pong kwentuhan ngayong umaga na ito. Once again, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat bilang panimula po at muli sa ating pagbabalik makatapos ang ating mid-sem break. Paki-thumbs up, paki-heart react nga po kung tayo po ay nakapahinga noong nakaraang linggo para sa ating mga may mga nag-heart react naman ng mga estudyante natin. Yan, kasi Ma'am Daphne, kami po ay dumaan last week sa mid-sem break na tinatawag or wellness break. Ito po yung isang linggong pahinga. Hopefully, nakapahinga ang ating mga estudyante at ang mga kaguruan. Kunyari nagpahinga, no? Pero marami pa rin mga chechikan sa mga lamesa namin. Oh. Huwag po kayong mag-alala, pare-parehas po nating iisipin ang ating mga requirements. Anyway, once again, welcome back po sa ating regular classes at ating regular na ginagawa na STE Talks or Kwentuhang Community Organizing. No? So, to begin our program, siguro po ay may request Kuya Jasper to play po our Philippine National Anthem. Ayan, maraming salamat Kuya Jasper. Mukhang may mga nagpapasukan pa po no, na ating mga estudyante. Once again, magandang araw po sa ating lahat, isang makaekolohiyang pantao sa ating pong lahat ngayong Monday morning no, sa pagbabalik ng ating STE Talks SDS 172, Usapang Community Organizing. On behalf po ng aming department at ng core team ng SDS 172 na nagtuturo, we would like to welcome you all sa ating pong panibagong kwentuhan no, na pangungunahan po ng ating naimbitahang tagapagpadaloy or tagapagsalita. Just to give you a context or program overview, yung STE Talks or Kwentuhang Community Organizing, nabuo po siya during the time ng pandemic. No, na nagkaroon po kasi ng limitasyon na makipagkwentuhan sa mga pamayanan at komunidad. Maging sa mga experts natin na mga community organizer na mahalagang maibahagi yung kanilang mga buhay na karanasan or live experiences sa mundo ng community organizing. At hindi po lingid sa inyong kaalaman, lahat went to online. No? Kaya po noong nagkaroon ng opportunities at kung ating babalikan, Sir Mark, Doc Millie, we were able to invite other experts in the field na nakapagbahagi ng community organizing, children's organizing, si Sir Aldwin Hamora from World Vision, si Ma'am Abby from Benguet, IP-based community organizing. Doc Visco talk about academe-led community organizing. Si Doc Rita also spent time with us for the past semesters talking about health-oriented type of community organizing, showcasing experiences in POGI. No, so marami na po tayong napagkwentuhan, no, mas ibinababad natin yung ating pong mga estudyante sa pakikinig at pakikibahagi, no, sa mga kwentuhan katulad nito. At ngayong umaga na ito, panibagong kwentuhan po ulit, no, na hari nawa po ay makapagbigay sa atin ng panibagong kaliwanagan, no, doon sa mga konsepto na atin pong inaral sa ating classroom over the past weeks, no, na ating pinag-aaralan ang community organizing. So yun po yung kwento, dumadagdag ng dumadagdag para nang sa ganoon makita ang mukha ng organizing sa iba't ibang mukha, sa iba't ibang sektor, at sa iba't ibang issues na kinakailangan tugunan dahil ito ay bahagi ng tinatawag natin na human ecological issues and concerns. And for us to future-proof, no, mauunawaan natin yung tinatawag natin na human ecological perspective, achieving human ecological security. Mahalagang aspeto po ang pag-uusapan natin ngayong umaga na ito. And to formally introduce our speaker, kasi ito po ay mas kilalang kilala ni Sir Mark, kanyang kapanalig sa UP Diliman, may I call on our kasagwan, Prof. Mark Felizar, to introduce our speaker today. So, mag-notes po tayo dahil ang ating panawagan may reflection paper po na kaakibat ang kwentuhang ito. Maraming salamat. Take it away, Sir Mark.
Okay, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Naririnig po ba ako? Opo. Yun nga po, katulad na nabanggit ni Sir Dino, ay napakalapit sa puso ko itong ating speaker sa araw na ito. Siya po ay aking naging classmate nung ako po ay nagtatapos ng aking PhD sa UP Diliman sa CSWCD. Ang ating pong speaker ay napakahaba ho ng kanyang credentials, at baka maubos na ang isang oras ay nagsasalita pa rin ako. So isa-summarize po natin, at napakarami pong karanasan ng ating speaker. Nakakatuwa po at pinaundakan niya tayo ng panahon. Ang ating pong speaker ay pinanganak noong June 30, 1963, at siya po ay nagtapos ng Bachelor of Science niya in Hotel and Restaurant Administration from the College of Economics, University of the Philippines, Diliman. I'm sorry, Home Economics po pala yun. And she also had electives in Islamic Studies, Community Organization, Safety and Health Education, as well as special courses in Pedagogy of Human Rights, Cultural Sensitivity. And right now, she's also currently finishing her Master's in Community Development and at the College of Social Work and Community Development, UP Diliman. Aside from her more extensive experiences po, highlight ko na lang po, dati pong siya ay with Plan International. She was a project manager, and with this particular project called Safe Sea, Safeguarding Against and Addressing Fishers Exploitation at Sea. And also her current engagement was with World Vision Development Foundation, that is the under Project ACE, or Project Against Child Exploitation, which provides support through capacity building efforts of the government of the Philippines, at least one country in Asia, to address worst forms of child labor, including the online sexual exploitation of children. And Project ACE is also funded by the United States Department of Labor under cooperative agreement IL 34007, and a lot of numbers as well. And this also tries to impact child labor programs spread across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, with particular emphasis in two areas, Quezon City and Cagayan de Oro City. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my beloved classmate who is also a 27 Usdol Iqbal Masi awardee and a child rights advocate and development worker, and the representative for the NGOs in the National Council Against Child Labor. So let us give a warm UPLB welcome to Ms. Daphne de Guzman Calanag. Hi, Ate Daph.
Good morning, Sir Mark, and salamat po, Doc Dino, for the invitation for SD 172. Good morning to all your students in this class. I would just like to know, kaya ba nating mag-greet ng screen? I'd like to see the faces of our students.
Everyone, may request po si Ma'am Daphne, can we open our camera para daw po mas magliwanag ang ating umaga? Pwede ba nating i-open ang ating mga, ayan, merong nasa classroom? Kasi kakatapos lang po ng lecture. So, meron pong mga nasa classroom tayo. Yung iba po, pwede po ba nating i-open, especially my class, at klase ni Doc V? Can we open our camera, please?
Napaka young looking ng mga students ninyo, sir. No po, sige po. When Sir Mark asked me to have a reflection session, parang sharing session with your class, I got excited kasi nung nakita ko yung title, yung letter nyo, Doc Dino, Triumphs and Struggles in Community Organizing. Initially, I was preparing some PowerPoint slides on CO, and then I realized ilang months na yung semester. So yung science of community organizing, malamang mauuno na ng mga students. So I thought it would be best to start the sharing by hearing from people in the field, no? Yung project I finished recently, yung Project Against Child Exploitation, was mostly working with the Philippine government. So I thought I would share videos from the previous project I handled, yung ABK3 o yung work namin ng advocacy and sa sugarcane plantation. So allow me, with the help of Sir Mark, to show a few videos. They are just a few minutes long. Yung isa are children talking about their engagement as little teachers. This is, we have organized children to help other children. And the other one is parents naman ang nagsasalita on community-managed savings and credit associations, on how CO has helped them also in not just socially but also economically. And then yung third short video is about local government unit engagement, no? So I thought it would be best to share the triumphs of community organizing from the mouth of the people in the various communities that ABK3 was implemented. This is across 11 provinces. So medyo madami-dami mga nagsasalita. But it would be good for your students, and I hope this will inspire all of you sa social development. So Sir Mark, pakiplay po yung ating tatlong videos lang po i-show natin, but there are other videos which you can see also later. Thank you. Yung Habol 1 is the title of yung catch-up programs with little teachers.
Kita na po ba yung screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Paano na? Ayan, sir. Pa-full screen na lang.
Okay na po yung sound.
Yes, sir.
Pag sa linggo po, tutulong po ako sa mga magulang ko po. Kasi yung papa ko po dito ay isa pong farmer, yung magagapak po kung tawagin. So, pag wala pong pasok, tutulong po ako sa tatay ko. Yung mga tulong naman pong ginagawa ko sa kanya, halimbawa po, yung papa ko po yung puputol po ng tubo. So, ako po yung maghahakot, yung gagawin pong pananim sa tubuhan.
The Catch-Up Program is an education strengthening service that the project offered for children. We wanted children to be in school, but during times when there's no class, like weekends and summer breaks or Christmas breaks, we wanted children to be in a form of a learning environment instead of going to the farms. The purpose of this Catch-Up Program is to get children interested in learning so that learning becomes fun. And to some extent, struggling learners especially are assisted by children who do well in school.
Pagdating ng catch-up, hindi ko marunong magbasa at mag-isip. Pero ngayon, marunong na kami.
Sa nakikita ko, malaking tulong ang mga little teachers sa akin. Kasi yung mga hindi ko na nagagawa, magagawa nila. Mas maganda pag kapwa nila bata ang nagtuturo sa kanila kasi hindi sila natatakot. Yung ang pinakamaganda sa mga little teachers, kasi yung mga bata hindi takot kasi kapwa nila bata ang nagtuturo sa kanila.
Hindi lang nga makabulit ka sa iba, pati man ikaw mismo may matunan. Kag mapil mo ang mga bata, makita mo sila kung gatudlo ka, nga nalipay sila sa imo, tapos maaara ang gapamatigin sila sa imo, miski kisa ka mga pasaway, ma-enjoy mo man siya pa. Tapos mag-ubra kami sa mga tamang ginapang tudlo. Siyempre, nga tayo mga gapabulit mo kami sa mga maestra namin. Kag inistorya namin kung ano ang mga i-discuss sa mga estudyante na ng exact man sa ilang ang mga age and grades.
There are catch-up programs in school that happens with the supervision of the teachers, and there are also catch-up programs in the village level. Some barangays have given us venue for Learning Resource Center, where the para-teachers or community volunteers help the little teachers in conducting these catch-up programs. Some of the catch-up programs have also been with a vehicle we call EMO, or the Education Mobile, or some even use a tricycle, or some use the multi-cab. So there have been various forms of catch-up programs.
Pagbulit sa amin ang catch-up, kaya may kami nabasa, spelling, sulat. Nandun ko, nakapulog sa kamisto. Kaya nakabulit sa kapalugya, doon sa mga bata, nagawin klase.
Daf, should we continue with the next video po?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yung Community Managed Savings and Credit Associations.
Okay po.
Thank you. And then yung susunod yun sa LGUs.
Ako po si Juliet Lejano, 46 years old at yuda na may 5 anak. Dati po sila ay nagsasako ng taad at naglalagay ng taad sa tudling ng tubuhan.
Lahat sila nakatrabaho sa kampo, pati ngayon ang yung tatlo, yung grade 3. Kung dito, hindi hindi kasya sa amon. Kasi siyempre, ang bata na nag-eskwela, high school, college, hindi kasya na amon na makita.
This is a group of 10 to 25 neighbors who come together on a regular basis. They pool their savings together, and from their savings, they're able to loan out to their members in 5 pesos or 20 pesos as a weekly savings. And it has encouraged a lot of savings, and we're very happy that in some barangays, they have 10 to 20 COMSTE groups. So people have come together to save and loan to each other. And this has not only helped them economically, this has also improved the relationships among neighbors.
Ako po ay sumali sa COMSCA noong March 2012 at napakalaking tulong sa akin na kung mawawalan kami ng allowance ng mga anak ko, ako'y doon nakakahiram.
There's sa Pilista, may enterprise kami ng rice refilling. Bali, na siya sa EBK3, ginhatag sa amon. Bali, pulo na siya sa ako. Retail kami sa 50 kilos, may ara kaning 50 peso. Bali, may namon, piso per kilo.
Bali, assistance galing sa DOLE with the partnership ng EBK3 to avoid na child labor, mga bata nga nagtatrabaho sa mga kampo. At siya nga ginano nila para ang mga iba ng nanay nga nagtatrabaho, hindi masyado makatrabaho sa mga kampo ang mga bata nila. Kabulig sa amon ang livelihood ni kay tungod. Miskin pag may gagmay, makapiyan-piyan man sa mga ginikanan nga
Itong programa na ito, tinatawag namin ito na Dual Integrated Livelihood Emergency Living Program. So yung programa nito, yung kanyang objective really is to help those who are in poverty groups under the program in inclusive growth, that is to help those who are affected by poverty. Tapos yung pakay nito ng programa nito, tulungan yung may hirap talaga to provide livelihood project to the parents para na mag-increase yung income nila at the same time, makatulong na ito yung quality of life nila. Pero yung anak nila, instead of sending them to farm, they could send back their children to school.
COMSCA by itself did not start by savings and loans, but with the members. The members had come up with the enterprises, some group enterprises, and they've scaled up their enterprises. And because they are organized groups, there had been funds leveraged also from government, from the Department of Labor and Employment, and from the DSWD, and from some local governments. And they're very proud about it. You hear a lot of good stories about them being able to put up walls in their houses. So it has increased their livelihood asset, it has increased their financial capacity, it has increased their social capacity and the human capacity. So these are assets that was developed through organizing them into small savings groups.
Kaya talagang malaking na iitulong sa akin ng COMSCA. Malaki po ang pangarap ko sa aking mga anak na sana dagdagan pa ako ng lakas para ako makapaghanap buhay at talagang tuloy-tuloy silang makatapos ng pag-aaral.
Mga tao rito na nagtatrabaho po sa tubuhan, sasabihin po natin na sa asyenda, ay karamihan po mga mahirap lang din po sila. Ano po. Ngayon, ang nangyayari, ang mga pag-anak nila, umabot na po sa edad na 11 o 12 anyos, yun po ay ginagawa na nilang katulong sa paghanap buhay.
Ayun po ay napakadelikado dahil ang hawak nila doon ay patalim at saka medyo masukal yung lugar. Hindi natin masabi, minsan may mga makamundag na hayop na naninirahan sa lugar na yun, kaya hindi yung safe para sa mga bata.
We know that the mandate to protect children stands with the government, and so we work closely with the local governments from the barangay level to the municipal or city level to the provincial level.
Taong 2011, nang dumating po dito sa aming barangay ang Abacat Reef, ang pinaka talaga doon yung kapakanan ng mga kabataan. So naging interesado ako lalo na ng mga naka-attend na ng mga trainings sa nila.
We are grateful that in our working with them, they have come up with policies, with ordinances to prevent child labor in sugarcane farms. And some of them have even come up with the policies for budget purposes. So some of the learning resource centers and some programs have been implemented by the local governments.
Pagkatapos ng 3 pagbasa, sinabi namin sa Barangay Assembly at ito ipinasa sa Sangguniang Bayan. After almost 1 month, ito ay ipinasa ng Sangguniang Bayan. At pagkalipas ng mga ilang panahon pa, nirecognize din ng DOLE yung aming ordinansa. Pinaliwanag namin ang mga dapat na gawin ng mga bata at hindi dapat na ginagawa nila. Sa halip sila ay nag-aaral, hindi sila nagtatrabaho sa tubuhan, o kung nagtatrabaho man, hindi yung mabigat na trabaho, hindi yung magagaan lamang na hindi delikado para sa kanila. Noong una, medyo mahirap ang pag-implement kasi hindi bihasa ang mga taga-barangay na yung kanilang mga anak ay nililimitahan pagdating sa ganong sitwasyon. Pero unti-unti, nabuksan yung kanilang isip na tama at maganda pala yung tinatakbo, yung sinasabi namin, nilalaman ng mga ordinansa.
Support ng barangay sa catch-up classes, maganda. Binigyan namin ng barangay yung site para sa learning center. Sa ngayon, nagbigay kami dyan ng mga additional na mga gamit doon sa LRC sa loob. Yung mga tables, yung mga chairs, binigay namin doon. May mga encyclopedias na nilagay din yung mga books na dinagdag namin sa loob ng learning center.
Isipan po namin ito na magkaroon ng data system para po malaman namin na yung every household kung ilan na kabataan na involved sa isang bahay. So with this data, may mga basis na po kami para paano i-address yung mga problema ng mga bata natin na involved sa child labor.
We suggested to provide the fund for the conduct of the survey. So all sectors were invited, the DepEd, the PNP, to identify what indicators are needed.
Child labor in the sugar farms especially has always been a concern of Negros Occidental and even the national government. So the partnership between the provincial government and ABK3, including the CFI, is through the project, through the PCRWC's participation in the drafting of the voluntary code of conduct for child labor monitoring system, which the provincial government also through the Gender and Development Fund gave financial assistance for its implementation. It will really give us the statistical data to back up whatever plans we have for the good of Negros children.
We are hopeful that the new set of officers will continue whatever executive orders have been passed, especially in the areas where there has a child monitoring system that we started with them.
I-encourage namin ang ibang barangay na gawin din yung mga ginagawa namin para dumating yung panahon na itong aming bayan dito sa bayan ng Lian sa Batangas ay masabing child labor free.
Salamat, Sir Mark, for playing the videos. Siguro, now we can check if there are questions among the students before I proceed sa konting kwentuhan. So that's part of the successes o yung triumph, and I hope that excites you na makita ano yung fruits ng community organizing. But of course, there are also challenges, no? But perhaps you can give some time for any questions.
Meron po bang mga tanong? Or nahihiya pa? Baka mamaya later on daw, Ma'am Daphne. Apo, thank you po.
Sige po, Sir Dino. Sige, siguro I will start with a few kwento, no? Unang-una, ano lang, yung pong videos that you saw was made in 2016 when we ended yung ABK 3LEAP the project, no? So some of the statistics there, especially on the number of child laborers, medyo outdated na. So if you want to know the latest figures on child labor, you can check the Philippine Statistics Authority website. They have, although ang latest na nasa PSA is yung 2022, no? So yan na po, yan is start ng CO, no? Data, no? Assessment of data. So there are various ways where we can check data for certain communities, no? And then, yung pong mga in-acknowledge namin doon na little teachers, COMSCA members, nakakatuwa kasi madami doon nag-graduate na po ng college, no? Because that project finished 8 years ago. So yung iba po, I have accepted them as friends sa Facebook. Now we see how these teachers, little teachers noon, they were helping other students in their class. Kasi dati, most of the child laborers were at the bottom of their classes. But there were some who were really good. So they helped also yung so yung mga child laborers dati nasa bottom of their class, umangat sila. Some even got to the top 10 and some had been elected as SK officers na rin ang kanilang barangay. Tapos yung mga naging members ng, hindi naman naging members, lahat halos ng parents ng mga assisted children, they wanted to do something, no? So yun yung maganda sa community organizing. At first, people are divided, sometimes kanya-kanya, ganon. But when they come together to address a certain problem, pag nakita nila na problem, they come together to address the issue. And they are willing to pay forward, kung hindi man resources na financially, they volunteer their time and effort. So madami dun sa mga members ng COMSCA, yung Community Managed Savings and Credit Association, naging village advocates din sila, naging community monitoring group sila, no, yung community watch group. So lumalawak yung roles nila sa community. Ang mahalaga lang, yung organizing na gagawin natin should develop relationships, no? Dati yung mga hindi nag-uusap na neighbors, minsan meron pang mga hidwaan sa community, hindi naman maalis yan, napubuo. So nakita ko po sa course ng project implementation, I started with World Vision 2003, no? We had a project from 2003 to 2007, and then another project 2007 to 2011, and then the last was the ABK 3, no? Hanggang, so almost 13 years. So I've seen how communities were transformed. Una, they came together sa issue ng child labor, and then lumalawak, no? Lumalawak sila na pati teachers na o-organize, because we also had training for teachers, mga community members, they help each other. Madami dun sa mga volunteers, yun na, raising volunteers, no, part ng organizing yan. Madami sa volunteers who wanted to pay forward, nagkaroon sila ng confidence, no? I recall in some of the evaluations we had, may mga parents na nai-interview, mga hindi pa elementary graduate yung iba or hindi pa high school graduate. Pero yung confidence nila, so yung empowerment, no, na-build yung confidence nila by working in their communities, so much so that some of them were encouraged na tumakbo for kagawad, no? So pag naging kagawad na sila, nadadala nila yung ating aspirations for community empowerment, community development, hanggang sa mga ordinances at sa kausapin ng barangay. The same thing sa mga bata, when we organize children, ng mga children's barangay associations, or mga little teachers, kahit sa school governance councils, nade-develop yung mga bata. So, nandun yung empowerment. And it's a major principle, no, ng CO, yung empowerment of the members. At nakakatuwa, yung ilan sa mga bata naging SK officers. Naalala ko, merong one time, we had the Children's Congress. May isang bata, nagkikwento sa akin, he's from Cebu, sabi niya, Ate Dap, sabi niya, lumaban kami sa SK, yung mga kalaban namin, mga datu, ang tawag nila sa Cebuano, yung datu is mayaman, ano. And this is what made me sad, no? Nalaman ko na even for SK elections, pumapasok na yung political, yung corruption, no? People were paying the children 100 pesos to vote for certain group. Umiiyak siya, sabi niya, Ate Dap, yung mga kalaban namin, mga datu, nagbibigay sila ng 100 o nag-o-offer sila ng excursion, mga swimming, gano'n. Pero sabi niya, ang plataforma namin, children's rights, plataforma namin, leadership skills development, ganyan. At kinuwento niya, madami doon sa nakatanggap ng pera, binibigay sa kanila yung pera for their campaign. And in the end, yung grupo nila, I'm having goosebumps just sharing these stories, no? Nanalo pa sila. So nagkaroon ng, ito isang malungkot na situation sa Pilipinas na kahit yung SK ginagamit ng mga politiko. So merong vote buying. Buti na lang yung mga bata, nakita nila, itong isang grupo, mahihirap sila. So yung mga natatanggap nila dun sa kabilang grupo, pinul together nila. So nakapag-swimming din sila. And then nanalo nga yung grupo nila despite not having any funds, no? And so yung mga aspirations for children's empowerment, mga leadership skills, nagawa nila. So this is another trait, no? Yung empowerment ng community. So it can be different sectors when we talk of CO, hindi lang isang buong komunidad. It can be geographic. It can be also sectoral. So within CO, merong geographic, may sectoral, at saka yung issues ng mga sector, ng mga groups na yon. Ito ang isang challenge ko sa inyong mga batang nagsisimula sa CO. How good are you at listening, no? So naisip ko rin, okay, wala tayong PowerPoint ngayon. So mapipilitan kayong makinig. And then I learned from Doc Dino, reflection paper, no? How good are you in listening? CO works if we learn to listen and if we provide people in the community the opportunities to speak up. Sa umpisa, mahirap, and I'm sure some of your experiences sa community, mahirap magsimula na magsalita yung mga tao, lalo na kung hindi sila sanay na yung nagfa-facilitate dayuhan, no? Like us. Dumadating tayo sa community, hindi nila tayo kilala, ano dala-dala nating agenda, no? So they need to see that we are there to help lang, to facilitate na mapag-usapan nila ano ba yung mga issues nila. And then from among their many issues, ano yung kailangan nilang tugunan sama-sama. So ito yung kailangan marunong tayong makinig, marunong tayong magbigay ng opportunity na hindi lang isang tao o yung mayabang lang o yung siga-siga lang ang magsasalita, but that everybody gets to speak. So yung facilitation skills natin, we need to develop. Makita natin sino yung mukhang leader, pero at the same time, yung mga followers, how do we encourage them to speak up and to follow? Because from them sometimes, nag-emerge yung mga leaders. And dito mahalaga yung empathy, no? We need to be caring people. We should go to communities, not just bringing our own agenda, but knowing that we are just being used by a higher being, no? Used by the Creator to facilitate, to be a catalyst for change. eventually ang main goal ng community organizing is to bring people together, to work together, to achieve what they want to do together, particularly yung marginalized sectors. How do they get out of their poverty? How do they get out of whatever is keeping them under bad influences or keeping them tawag doon na inaapi sila, gano'n, no? So we need to teach integrity also and model it, no? Yung to act as a moral compass, no? For minsan nakakalungkot lalo na sa mga panahon na ang indifference sa politics, and this is a good time, no? Leading towards the election. Pwede natin gamitin ang CO for voters education, no? Kung ang moral compass natin, ano, are we allowing injustice to flourish? How can we engage communities to see ano yung nangyayari? Yung bang kanilang mga barangay leaders, for example, are leading for the good of the barangay? Or is there corruption happening that they need to address? Are people being oppressed by unfair labor practices? May mga bagay na tayo should help become a moral compass. Without being preachy, we can ask questions. No, usually when I go to communities, hindi tayo magtuturo, but we keep asking questions. So that sa pagtatanong natin, we help people become analytical. No, we help people think, oo nga, no, bakit ganito ang sitwasyon? Yung iba mahirap kayo kasi tamad kayo. But I've been to so many communities. Hindi tamad ang mahihirap. Sila yung nakikita natin, nagsisikap sila, working under the sun, carrying heavy loads, kasi gusto nilang may pakain sa anak nila. Ang hindi maganda, yung kanilang environment that needs to change. No? Sometimes, parang tatanggapin na lang ba natin, mahirap yung community kasi mahirap silang talaga. But what causes the poverty? Minsan, nandyan yung injustice, nandyan yung corruption. So how can we help them see these issues so that they want to act together to change their situation? Tapos kasama nga dun sa being moral compass, yung may empathy ka, kailangan matuto rin tayo ng humility, no? So nung ako'y bata pa, napakayabang kong tao, lalo na sa UP, diba? Merong sinasabi, kung di ngayon, kailan? Kung hindi tayo, sino? Sometimes, masyado tayong mayabang, no? Pag taga-UP ka, ganyan. But you need to learn to humble yourself, no? And natutunan ko sa course ng working with communities, it is a humbling experience because we learn a lot from the people who have very less in life. Ako kasi noon, privilege ako, nakapag-aral ako sa private school. Noong nasa Diliman na ako, I wanted to work as a student assistant. Sabi ng papa ko, anak, huwag ka munang magtrabaho, kaya pa kitang paaralin, mag-aral ka lang. And then I was exposed to children who need to walk an hour or two through the sugarcane fields para pumasok sa eskwela. Sabi ko, God, kung ako siguro yun, wala akong service, baka hindi na ako pumasok. And then after work after work, mag-aaral pa sila. After school, babalik sa trabaho. 4:00 madaling araw, tumutulong sa magulang. So yung very humbling experience, no? When you get immersed in communities na talagang isang kahig, isang tuka, and yet, when they realize na karapatan ng mga bata ng proteksyon, and they realize this is something na gusto ko para sa aking mga anak, and then you see parents struggling, and they are better advocates. Kasi nakita ko sa mga communities where we had community watch groups, no? Yung mga magulang who used to send their children to hazardous work, pag sila ang nagsabi sa neighbors nila, hindi yan tama, at nakita ng neighbors nila, hindi na nila pinagagawa sa anak nila yung dati nilang ginagawa, yun ang effective na advocacy. Yung nakikita, yung pagbabago sa kanila, so that their neighbors also realize, oo nga, mali yung ginagawa ko. So yun yung empowerment kasama yung sila mismo na empower by doing the things, no, to respond to their problems. And then dito mahalaga yung communication, no? We need to be able to share our vision so that the community will get it as their vision, no? Yung expectations, yung concerns nila, we need to help them na sabihin, no, i-communicate. And we need to communicate clearly. At dito ako natuto in my course of working, sabi nga ni Mark, I was born 1963, no? So nung panahon na bata pa ako, ang sinasabi sa mga bata, nakikita ka lang, hindi ka naririnig, no? But after the UNCRC, nakita natin na children became more aware of their rights. Children are able to talk about their issues. So we'll help people, we'll help children, we'll help the parents to verbalize yung mga issues nila. And then in verbalizing these issues, the message has to be clear. This is what we want to do. And we would do this together. And these are the things we would need to do. Naalala ko pa, isang nakita kong effective strategy, no? Kasi yung issue ng child labor nung nagsisimula kami nung early 2000, pag pinag-usapan ng child labor, takot ang mga communities na makisama. Kasi feeling nila, ay naku, baka ma-demanda kami, baka against the law kasi, di ba? So, what we do is tell people, we understand na yung situation ninyo, hindi namin kayo kinokondemn. We understand your situation and we want to help work with you. So, unti-unti, dahil yung mensahe na pinaparating natin, dinadagdagan ko ng kwento, no? So, maganda yung may alam kang good practice na nangyari sa isang baryo. For example, ginagamit ko lagi yung kwento to inspire the community that we are working with. Kasi pag nakita nila, ay pwede pala yan gawin kasi nagawa na sa ibang lugar, then they will be inspired, no? So, ang usual kong ginagawa, nagdadala ako ng mga kwento na good practices na nangyari sa isang community when I'm introducing it sa another community. And dumadating yung panahon, lalo na when you gather, maganda rin kasi madaming training, no? Na sa training, nagsasama-sama yung leaders from various communities, nakakapulot sila doon ng stories from other areas na dinadala nila sa kanilang community, no? Yun yung maganda. So, pag nagbibidahan na, pag nagsama-sama na yung leaders from various communities, ito na yung kasama sa coalition building, no? When you get people, leaders from other communities, pagsamahin mo sila with other communities, they get to share experiences. They get to exchange challenges and how they dealt with those challenges. Lalo lumalakas yung loob nila, lalo silang na-empower, and then dala-dala nila yung mga kwentong yun, pagbalik nila sa community nila. And this is what I hope community organizers can do. We can continue to inspire communities by sharing good stories, by sharing examples na nangyari sa iba. At dito ko natutuwa kasi nakita ko talaga madaming transformation na nangyayari sa mga communities where we've worked in the past so many years, no? And I've worked with more than 11 provinces, so many communities, and I've seen things happen. Na yung dating tahimik na mga tao, yung parang accepted na nila yung kahirapan nila, they come together and then naging advocates, sabi nga ng isang bata ng isang evaluation, dati, parang nung COVID to, no? Pamilya lang natin ang concern pag nilalagnat tayo. Sabi ng bata, dati nanay niya lang nagagalit pag di siya pumasok. But because of the project, nakita niya, ang teacher niya naging concerned, nag-home visitation na, pati barangay, tinatanong sila. So nakita niya na yung pag-aaral niya ay naging issue ng community, hindi lang ng pamilya niya. So these things, no, natatransform yung community. So yung vision, no, we need to get people accept or agree on a vision for their community and work together for that vision. And working together, we have to impart then yung accountability, no? We cannot just form leaders. The leaders have to come from the community, but they have to be taught accountability. And that they can also see that from us, no? As community organizers, we need to promote a culture of accountability, yung responsibility. People need to see that, no? And then yung building relationship, yung building trust, yung credibility natin. Kasi dayo tayo eh, no? We're not from the community. They need to see how sincere we are in helping them, no? Naalala ko nung much younger pa ako, siguro in my 30s, nung nagsisimula pa lang ako community organizing sa street children issue naman ito. Ano pa to, early after lang ng UNCRC, no? Pag nagbibigay kaming orientation, ito siguro isang dapat nating baguhin, yung sinasabing Filipino time, kaya laging late, no? I never agreed to that. Filipino time is always on time, sabi ko. I always make it a point, pag may appointment, come 30 minutes, 15 minutes before the set appointment. That is how we change society, by modeling it. Naalala ko nung sa Pasay ito, yung una kong work sa street children, no? Every time may community orientation, I would come mga 15 to 30 minutes. I have arranged yung mga upuan. Minsan nagugulat sila, sino tong babaeng to na tumutulong mag-set up ng mga upuan, gano'n. And then I introduce myself. Nagugulat sila, ay, speaker pala namin kayo, ma'am, gano'n. Ano? Tapos nakikita nila yung speaker nila, nag-aayos ng mga upuan. It is to let them know na nandun ka, na nakasama mo sila, nag-aayos ka ng mga upuan, hindi ka dadating na primadonna, speaker ka, gano'n. Hindi. So that way, in a small way, na nakukuha mo yung confidence ng tao. And then dati, hindi naman ako mahilig sa mga teledrama, mga telenovela. I make time, no? Para manood. Para lang malintindihan ko ano yung mga pinapanood ng mga tao. Kasi minsan, magko-quote ka ng sinabi ng isa sa mga famous na telenovela, and then pwede mong i-twist, no? Ibalik yung, siyempre, nakuha mo na attention nila kasi, ay, kilala niya kung sino man yung, ngayon hindi na ako nanonood kasi hindi na ako nagko-community organizing. Mas government level na, no? Pero noon, kung sino yung mga bida nung araw, ilalabas-labas mo habang nakikipag-usap ka sa kanila. So they feel na ay tao itong kasama namin, na kilala niya yung mga kilala namin, alam niya yung mga issues, ganon. So yun, yung mahalaga yung relationship building. Build the relationship with the community. Una, kilalanin sino yung mga kilalang leaders sa community. But other than the elected leaders at yung, kasi di ba alam naman natin sa iba-ibang structures, no? Kilalanin din natin sino yung mga other allies na pwedeng makatulong sa issue natin, no? And then yun nga, when the community comes to an agreement sa anong gagawin, kailangan natin silang tulungan na malinaw ano yung priorities, ano yung action na kailangan gawin, ano yung resources na kailangan. Pwede natin tulungan yung community to mobilize resources. Una, yung resources na internal to the community, hindi lang human resources. Minsan nga natutuwa ako kasi in some areas, na-realize nila yung mga alumni nila ng elementary schools na nasa abroad na. Natatap nila yung mga alumni nila to help, yung mga tipong ganon. So within the community, tignan ano yung resources na kaya nilang itap. And then yung local government. Government has a lot of money. They just don't know where to put it. I can tell this every time to people, no? They have a lot of money, they just don't know how to do it well. No, nung umpisa, naalala ko nung bago-bago pa kami, Dole would offer me money because pagpalapit na yung ending ng fiscal year, kailangan nilang ubusin yung funds, no? They want to give it to us. Sabi ko, hindi ko kukunin yan for the community unless ready na yung community, no? You don't want to pour in resources to a community that is not organized. So nung umpisa, tinatanggihan ko yung funds ng Dole. Ko, no, we don't want it to be a dole out na walang responsibility, walang accountability. But when we have finally organized the communities, yun yung nakita nyo dun sa second video, we've tapped millions of pesos from the government because they have funds for livelihood, they have funds for community. We only need to ensure that the community is truly organized para sila ay makinabang ng maayos. At natutuwa ako kasi in the last months, nag-close yung project 8 years ago. But until now, yung mga community managed groups ng savings, some of them have continued, no? So they continue to grow. And last challenge siguro, because we are running out of time, sabi ko kay Sir Mark, makwento ako, ang challenge yung pag nagpalit ng administration. If the new set of officials do not want to continue anything na nasimulan, parang national lang, ano, yung gano'n. So we need to empower the community para sila mismo magpo-follow up kung ano man yung ordinances na nandiyan dyan, dapat ipagpatuloy ng kung sino man ang susunod na uupo. So I guess in a nutshell, those are the things I wanted to share. Pero last na siguro, wag nating kalimutan yung celebrations. We need to be able not to talk just about problems, but we need to continue and have a culture of celebrating success, no? Kahit small success lang natin, i-affirm natin yung community. Let's find time to celebrate it, reflect about it, and learn from it. So I guess kulang talaga yung sabi nga, isang oras to talk about experiences. But community organizing, I have realized, is a very good way of working with communities and of making sabi ko, purpose sa buhay natin, no? There's a lot of work that can be done in the Philippines. We've done mahaba na narating natin sa organizing, pero mahaba pa, lalo na sa issue ng child protection. So, I hope that all of you, after your course, will be able to become productive members ng ating bansang Pilipinas, no? Yung sabi nga, future-proof, no? And I hope the UPLB alumni would help in changing yung ating bansa ngayon. There's so much to be done, so much corruption, and so much abuse happening. Let us empower communities to fight this so that we can have a better Philippines. So maraming salamat po sa opportunity na binigay ninyo, and thank you for listening. I'm sorry, medyo siguro sabog-sabog ako kasi I'm trying to put in as many na gusto kong i-share sa inyo, but I will be praying for all of you that you finish your course and you work towards improving our country. Maraming salamat and God bless you all. Thank you po, Doc Dino.
Maraming salamat po, Ate Daphne. Tawagin niyo na po na-inspire kami sa kwentuhan na ito, Ate Daph. It's already 9:55, but I guess baka po pwedeng anong tawag dito? Baka may pahabol na isa o dalawang tanong or clarification bago natin ipasa kay Doc V later on para doon sa pagsa-summarize and pagko-closing eventually ng ating kwentuhan. Tanong po kasi ang dami ko nang na-notes on the side. Oo, parang tumbok na po yung ating susunod na lecture on, 'di ba Doc V, on community organizer skills, attributes and values, no? Parang doon bumangga yung mga naging kwentuhan, multi-sectoral, and just to let you know, Ate Daphne, yung child protection and child labor is also a concern in human ecology. In fact, meron po kaming Department of Human and Family Development Studies, no, yung mga estudyante ay kumukuha at nagmi-major din po doon. But then again, sabi nga natin, napaka-cross-cutting ng organizing. Ma'am Yuyen, baka may tanong sa inyong klase. Ayan, go ahead po.
Yan. Hello po, ako po si Camille Salaw. At yung question ko po is a two-part question po siya. Firstly, I'd like to ask po, how long did it take kaya to implement yung program na nagawa niyo? Kasi napakaganda nga nung program. It's very holistic and very sustainable. Tapos, for the second part naman of my question, kami po kasi in SDS 172, we are to conduct a CO for an organization within only 1 semester. So yung question ko po about that is, with such limited time po, how do you think can we implement a project that will, like the program that you implemented, will be both holistic and sustainable po for the organization? Because although may desire po kami to help yung mga organizations na to be empowered po talaga in a sustainable way, yung we need to consider po yung feasibility yung within the time frame that is given to us. So pag meron po kayong any advice po na mabibigay regarding that, we would really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much, Camille. Very good question, ano? Kasi nakikita natin yung desire how to sustain what you will be starting. Una, the project ran for 5 years. So, considering you will be doing work for 1 semester, I would suggest siguro matulungan niyo muna yung gagawin ninyo in 1 semester is help the community to identify ano yung kanilang issues. So that yung issues nila, dun sila makafocus ng ways that can proceed, no? After your, kasi alam ko yun frustration ng student, no? You begin and then sino magpapatuloy? And that is where the challenge will be with the DSTS siguro, no? Yung department, paano masusustain yung mga simula ng ibang groups ng students sa 1 semester to the next semester, no? Kasi naalala ko nung sa Diliman, meron kaming sinimulan na parang assessment sa Valenzuela. Nagpatuloy yon hanggang sa 2nd semester. We carried it on. So if that would be possible for any communities that you will be working in, at least masimulan yung identification ng problem, identification ng possible na gagawin. Pero kasi it takes a long time really, no? Hindi siya isang ganun lang. But very crucial yung assessment ng issues, very crucial yung pag-build ng community, so pag-build ng leadership and empowerment so that kahit magpalit-palit ng organizers, kung yung community ay buo at nagkakaisa sa issue na gusto nilang tugunan, and then if later perhaps the department can help in providing necessary trainings or skills, kasi madaming capacity building na kailangan yun yung community, hindi, kahit sa LGUs, we help them with policy rights shops, gano'n. So madaming iba't ibang klaseng capacity building na pwede pa rin itulong later ng students and sa tulong ng department. Ayun. And I hope kahit once minsan you'll find it fulfilling. Just help, yun lang makita nyo sa inyong efforts na makita nyo mag-identify ng community ano yung major, ano yung priority issues that they will want to work together na tapos magkaroon na sila ng konting draft ng how to go about it. I think you'll find fulfillment in that and you would like to continue and ask the department, can we work in the same community next sem or can you have other groups follow up on these issues that have been identified? Ayun. May isa akong nakitang tanong na parang how did I choose to go on child protection?
Opo, Ate Daphne, bali, pahabol na tanong. Opo, what made you venture in organizing children po? I think that was the last question.
Unang-una kasi, bago pa nagkaroon ng United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, no, I was involved in the Street Children Project. Ito yung tripartite, UNICEF, DSWD, tsaka NGO. Nakasama ako dun sa pag-draft ng country paper on the draft UNCRC. So that reveals my age, no, bago pa nag-UNCRC. So yung engagement for children's protection, nandun na, nasimulan na. And then I became a legislative staff ni Joey Lina. So we were part of the crafting ng RA 7610. No, so talagang nakita ko where the Lord has led me to child protection. And then after RA 7610 was enacted, I was working naman sa Pasay teaching police and barangay tanods about child protection based on RA 7610. So doon nagsimula yung advocacy for child protection. Dito naman sa project that we shared with you, we realized that we needed to organize children because the prime goal of the project is to help children out of child labor. So how do you take children away from child labor? Kung yun ang kinagisnan na nila na centuries na mga parents nila, several generations, had been working on sugarcane farms, for example. So we wanted to see the children, help the children see other opportunities, help the children realize that learning is fun. So yung organizing ng children was more for them to know their rights and then to get them back to school. Ayun. In a nutshell, siguro yon, Doc Dino, kasi I might get excited and take another hour talking about child protection. Sorry. May question pa po ba?
Meron pa po ba? Or I guess, thank you, Ate Daphne. No, maybe we can have another opportunity next time na ipagpatuloy. Oo, na maipagpatuloy po itong kwentuhan na ito in some other time, either within the semester or next semester. Sabi nga po natin, parang CO lang yan. Po pwedeng ipagpatuloy ulit natin yung mga kumbaga bits and pieces ay mahahati yung ating pong pakikipagkwentuhan. So once again, maraming salamat po. Pwede ba nating bigyan si Ma'am Daphne ng virtual clap? Thank you very much po. And on behalf of SDS 172 team, Kuya Jasper, can we award the Certificate of Recognition? Later on po ay papadala namin kay Sir Mark ang hard copy at ang aming token of appreciation. Ayan po. So on behalf of the team and the Department of Social Development Services, College of Human Ecology, we would like to award the Certificate of Appreciation to Ma'am Daphne de Guzman Culanag for serving as a resource speaker for the SDS 172 ST E-Talks, Kwentuhang Community Organizing, with the topic entitled Triumphs and Struggles in the Field of Social Work and Community Development Endeavors, held this 21st of October 2024 via Zoom, signed by, of course, Sir Mark, yours truly as the coordinator, and Dr. Malenab as our department chair. So again po, maraming salamat Ate Daphne. In behalf po ng mga nanditong faculty, Dr. Visco, Dr. Yuyen, and the rest of the team. So maraming salamat po. Ibigay ko na po kay Doc B, hindi ko na po patatagalin for the closing message. Doc B, go ahead po.
Hi, thank you, Sir Dino. Thank you, Doc Daphne. Ay, Ma'am Daphne. Tuwan-tuwa ako. Sana nga po may phase 2 itong ating kwentuhan kasi marami po kaming natututunan, hindi lang po yung aming mga estudyante. So, dahil lumampas na po tayo sa alas 10, sana nga po ay magkakaroon nga tayo ng second talk sa inyo. Tapos magpapasalamat na rin po ako sa inyo. Marami sana akong tanong pero wag na po, sa susunod na lang po na talk ninyo. So thank you kay Doc Dino, sa ating mga organizers, si Sir Mark, mga faculty members na nandito, and of course our students. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagstay at I hope marami po kayo natututunan. So magkita-kita muli tayo sa pangalawang talk ni Ma'am Daphne kung papayag po siya. Maraming salamat po Ma'am Daphne. We hope to see you in person soon. Thank you, Sir Dino.
Maraming salamat, Doc. Thank you, Doc B. Thank you, Ma'am Daphne. Siguro po, later on, kung may mga tanong, send it to us sa inyong mga lecture faculty and then i-forward po natin kay Ma'am Daphne. No, para po baka may time pa si Ma'am Daphne later on na mai-unpack pa yung mga responses niya. So, congratulations po ulit sa 172 team and sa klase na ito na nagpadaloy ng isang matagumpay na SDS 172 STE Talks or Kwentuhang Community Organizing. So bilang ating pong pang-closing, no, ating pong sabay-sabaying awitin. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Daphne, mukhang pang-national development, no, ang usapin ng organizing. No, at lagit-lagit para sa bayan, no. Sabay-sabay po nating awitin, Kuya Jasper, ang UP naming mahal. Alright, maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang mga scholar para sa bayan.